Welcome to FoodTokTV. My name is Benjamin, aka Cooking with Father Preneur. We're doing steak frites today. Has anyone ever had steak frites before? Let me know in the chat if you've had steak frites. And where are you from, everyone? Where's everyone from today? I'm from Arizona. Hope everyone's having a good day. Hello, Mustard Queen. How are you doing? So today we are going to be doing steak frites. It's a nice way to say steak and fries. Has anyone ever had steak frites before? Let me know in the chat if you've had steak frites before. So first of all, I'm gonna start off with actually trimming up my beef. I have some New York strip steaks. Hey, Cats and Cookies, how you doing? Chris, how you doing? So I'm gonna trim off this piece of fat right here. I don't need that additional fat. Like that's just part I don't need in order to cook. And you're tuning to FoodTok TV. Appreciate you guys being here today. This is not my normal live. I'm stepping in today to help out and wanted to make sure that we can provide you a show today. And then tonight we might also have another content creator on FoodTok TV tonight. But today what I'm making is steak frites. Where are you all from today? Now I feel silly for calling them steak. Why? What do you mean? Hey Becky, how you doing? What do you mean? What do you mean, Mustard Queen? I don't know if I understand what you mean by that. But okay, I'm just cutting off the additional fat pieces that I don't need. Those are fat pieces I don't need. But here's a New York strip steak. Okay. Hey Pamela, upstate New York's in the building. Awesome. I'm from Arizona. Where's everyone else from? Let me know in the chat. And hopefully everyone's having a good Monday. How's everyone Monday going? Everyone having a good Monday? Everyone have a good weekend? Oh, perfect. Now that's all good. Hey Kaz, how you doing? Nice to see you, Kaz. So you're tuning into FoodTok TV. We're the longest running live cooking show we do daily, and I'm one of the content creators. I usually go live on Thursdays, but today I'm helping out, filling in a spot. And hey, the real MC, how are you? And we're going to be doing steak frites. It's a fancy way to say steak and fries, steak and potatoes. So it's a good old classic dish. So here's what I'm going to do. If you notice the way I always cook, I always have one hand dirty, one hand clean. One hand dirty, one hand clean. It's just easier for me to do that. So this hand will always touch the meat. And all I'm going to do is hit it with some oil. Today I'm going to use chili oil. I have a chili oil that I make myself. See if you see it's a nice red color. I'm going to move it around the plate. Okay. And this it's an oil that's mixture with guajillo chilies, puya chilies, salt, pepper. Also it has garlic powder in there, cumin powder, and a lot of other things in there. Like, hey Marilyn, how you doing? Corpus Christi's in the building. Awesome. Fantastic. So I'm going to season it. Salt and pepper generously. This is a thick cut of steak. So you definitely want to season generously. Now, here's one thing. You should always season the meat prior to cooking. That actually flavors the inside of the meat as well. When you season meat after you cook it, the seasoning will only stick to the outside. So it won't penetrate the inside. So just my opinion. That's what I recommend. Do salt and pepper. I prefer not to over mask my steak with too much ingredients. The point of having a nice cut of beef is to let the beef shine. So all I'm gonna do is literally salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic powder. Now the reason I'm using garlic powder, if I was to use fresh garlic, I can, but when I cook it on a hot stainless steel pan, what's gonna happen is that garlic has a good chance of burning. So I want the garlic flavor, but I don't want to have burnt garlic, if that makes sense. Thank you for the team bracelets. So now I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. When I take my gloves off, because my hand has touched oil, I'm going to put my fingers underneath the glove, put my fingers down. If there's any flicking of oil, to at least hit the plate. If I would do it like there, it's going to go towards the wall, and I'm trying not to make more of a mess. So that's just my little tip for today. Now, what we can start working on is getting stuff ready to make the frites, which is the potatoes. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me get my area cleaned up real quick. And here's what we're going to do. Salt, pepper over there. How's everyone's day going? Hey, Red Reagan Bakery, how's everyone's day today? Is everyone having a good Monday? If you haven't already said where you're from in the chat, let me know where you're from. I see we're at 2.3 likes. Let's see if we get to 5. What do you guys say? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see if we get some tips. Let's see. Thank you for saying that we do good tips. How you doing? If this is your first time also watching us on FoodTok TV, please let me know. Is this your first time watching us on FoodTok TV? Okay, now I'm going to grab a cutting board and I'm going to get a mandolin. Who in here likes to use mandolins? Do any of you like to use mandolins at all? So what I'm going to do with my potatoes, I have 3 potatoes right here that I've already scrubbed and washed. I'm going to keep the skins on. Bronx, yes, your first time? You're from the Bronx? Okay, Boogie Down Bronx. Rachel, what's up? San Francisco, first time watching. Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. My name is Benjamin, aka Cooking with Father Preneur. I'm one of the content creators on FoodTok TV. We are the longest running food show that we do daily on TikTok. We're going strong since 2021, and every day there's a cooking show. And sometimes Monday through Friday there is 2 cooking shows. Sometimes we've even done 3. I'm typically on Thursdays, but today I'm helping out to help assist. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting a mandolin, cutting my potatoes. I want them a little, I just want them that thin. They're gonna be very shoestring style French fries. My husband just got a mandolin. So here's the thing with mandolins. It's probably one of the tools that most people hurt themselves with. You gotta be very careful. So what I do, even though I'm experienced, I use my hands to a certain point, but then when it gets to a point where it gets too close, I say, you know what, why risk it? Just use your guard. I've seen too many accidents. When I was in the restaurant business, we would always have to send someone to the emergency room because they cut themselves on the mandolin. You know, don't try to be too cool. Be safe. That's the goal. Be safe. It's just if you have a good chance of cutting yourself, unfortunately, if you do it wrong. Okay, my potatoes are already cut. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna chop these potatoes up into little thin strips for shoestring fries. My finger just healed, but I lost feeling. Oh wow. So yeah, so just you gotta be careful. So I'm literally gonna line these up. I'm gonna stack them on top of each other, and I'm gonna let you guys see what I'm gonna do. So let's bring you down here for real quick, and you'll see me cut them in a few moments. Get my knife washed. Now, who's here? Has anyone ever here made their own French fries before? Have any of you ever made your own French fries before? Let me know in the chat. If you've made your own French fries before, in the chat, send an emoji of a potato. If you've made your own French fries before, send me an emoji of a potato. I want to make sure I don't stack them too high because I want them correct. Okay. These are I'm gonna do shoestring fries because I want them thin. Okay. I'm gonna put them in a bowl. Okay. Well, good. We've had some people making awesome. So here's what we're doing: cutting these potatoes. And do you guys like shoestring fries? Shoestring fries are pretty much really thin fries. How do you guys like your fries? Do you like big ones? Do you like small, thin ones? Oh, it's my favorite song from the teens. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I always have music going on in my house, so we always have music playing. And then, let me see, I'm almost done. Gonna let this do its thing real little bit. Got a few more to do. Okay, perfect. Crispy thin, Janet Bush says, awesome. Yeah, so I love this type of fry. When I see them at a restaurant, I think they're delicious. And now what I'm gonna do is let these soak in water for a little bit. So I'll move you up here. And if you guys don't mind tapping, I see we're at 5.6K taps. Let's see if we get to 10. What do you say? I'm gonna soak it in water just for a little bit to release the starches. That's the goal. And it's just gonna be for a few moments. It's not gonna do too much. If I was trying to make a big batch in advance, I would have already had these pre-soaked. When you put potatoes into water, the starches get released, and the longer you do that for, the better it would be. It also can make them crispier. But clean this, get rid of this, and then we'll go from here. So now we're gonna start working on cooking the steak a little bit. I need to see if my pan is hot enough. I don't feel it's hot enough, so I'm gonna turn up the heat a little more. Does anyone know how to tell if your stainless steel pan is hot enough? How do you tell if your stainless steel pan is hot enough? What do you do? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys do for a stainless steel pan? How do you tell if it's hot enough? If it's ready to be seared? Because what I see a lot of people do, they put their meat or their vegetables on a pan that is not hot, and it doesn't create a nice sear. It creates more like a grayish brown in color. Becky says the water dunce when you can't touch it. Janet Bush, sprinkle drops of water. Lady in red. So yeah, so the water dance, lady in red, all that is correct. So what I'm gonna do? Grab a little water. I'm gonna bring you over here. So let's take a little trip. I'm gonna move you a little slow so that you can not get too dizzy. And we're gonna go over here. So hopefully you can see that pan. Let me see if you can see it real good. Perfect. So here's what you're gonna do. Get some water. So when the water starts just moving left to right, and it's not evaporating that quick, that is a good sign to tell you that your pan is ready. So I like that idea of that. Now understand this. See, the water is still not disappearing yet. That's good. Understand this. I'm gonna add this steak in a few moments to this pan. The minute I add this steak into this pan, it's gonna bring down the temperature of the pan. Also understand that I need to get a nice sear on this pan, so I'm gonna have to make sure I leave the food alone. The most important thing I did with this steak, I let it sit out in room temperature for 40 minutes before I'm gonna sear it. So that's important. Do not put a cold piece of steak into your pan, or do not put a cold piece of meat into your pan. You want to make sure that you sear it properly. There's a couple steps you need to do. Make sure you have room temperature steak by 45 minutes. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a little technique, because what's going to happen, the minute I add this steak in, it's going to start burning, and because the pan has been on a high heat for a long time. So here's what I'm going to do. So stick with me for a little bit. I'm going to take this pan off for that moment. Okay? I'm going to hit it with the oil. Okay, it's already very hot. Now notice when I put the steak, I put it down away from me. Now I put it back on the burner. That will prevent burning. Just that little tip right there. And then we're going to let that cook for a little bit. And we're going to go from there. Now, here's the one thing people do with steak or when they're cooking stuff. You're probably looking at this already saying, I want to touch it, I want to move it. That is probably one of the worst things you can do. Leave the steak alone. We're going to let it cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. The point is, it needs to build a nice crust on the bottom. And the way you get that crust is by allowing the meat to just be there and don't fuss with it. So this is a quick way to make some steak in a pan. You don't need a nonstick skillet. Stainless steel works best, in my opinion. The point of the stainless steel, it heats up very well. Also, I'm going to be finishing the steak in the oven. I can put this pan in the oven directly too. Has anyone ever cooked steak before in a pan like this before? If you've cooked steak like this in a pan before, let me know. And I see that we have pans not hot enough. Jeremy, what do you mean by that? Jeremy says the pan's not hot enough. What do you mean by that, Jeremy? Yes, okay, perfect. All right, so I see that we have 538 people. If this is your first time watching FoodTok TV, please let me know. If this is your first time watching us, we'd appreciate knowing that. If you haven't already, make sure you're following us. And then when you click on the name up here, they will show you the notification bells. Make sure you are following us, okay? So that you can get notified every time that we go live. Okay, I am going to move you to the potato area. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the gifts. So here's what we're going to do. Now I need to dry these potatoes. And what I'm going to do is have a towel right here. I'm going to, so if you see right here the water, it's starch already. It's already cloudy water. So what I'm going to do is drain the water. This is to prevent it from oxidizing. I'm going to put them on my paper towel, or not my paper towel, my towel itself. And I'm going to try to get out as much moisture I can out of it. What's up, Tyson? How are we doing? So the goal is, I am not trying to put these potatoes that have been submerged in water into hot frying oil. So in this pot right here, if you can see right here, I have a thermometer. That thermometer is telling me how hot my oil is. It is about 350 degrees, which is good. That's what I want. And I'm just using canola oil. And you need to use an oil that can stand a high smoke point. It can be something you use for frying. So I appreciate it. Hey, Kim, how are you? Just got back from Dr. Oh, I'm glad you made it too. So these are little potatoes that I'm going to be doing. These are shoestring fries. I cut these myself. I first put them on the mandolin, then I slice them with my French fry with my knife to make a shoestring French fry. And so what we're making is steak frites, pretty much. Nice way to say steak and potatoes. So I appreciate everyone being here. Did everyone have a good weekend? Thank you for following the creator. Thank you for following us, Shannon. Nice to see you. Jude says stoves. What do you mean by stove? You have 2 saves. Awesome. Jude, you have 2 saves. What do you mean by that? Hey Marie, how are you? Glad I'm here. Awesome. Glad you're here too. Okay, looking good. Let's see if we're ready. So what I am going to do, I am going to take one French fry, just one little piece of potato. I'm going to drop it in like it's hot. See how it fries up. That's my little test. I don't need to drop a bunch of fries in there. I'm just going to fry one up, see what it looks like, and hopefully it comes out great. And while that's happening, I'm going to take advantage of cutting up some parsley that I need to cut up. I will need this parsley as a garnish. If you see my type of cooking, I always have parsley as a garnish. And keep in mind, the steak. Some of you are looking saying, why haven't you flipped the steak? You got to leave it alone. Leave it alone. And the same thing happens with grilling. Has anyone ever tried grilling chicken before? And you try flipping it and the chicken sticks to the grates? The reason why is because you haven't let it create the crust that it needs to build naturally. So that's the same concept. Okay, check the French fry. Still needs more time. But hey, Murray, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. So we're already at 10.4K taps. That's awesome. Thank you, everyone. Let's see if we can get to 15. What do you guys say? Who in here likes steak? Do any of you here like steak? Let me know in the chat if you guys like steak. Dang, look at those shares. Oh, thank you for all the shares. We appreciate it. Okay, what I am going to do, I'm going to show you how I check to make sure the steak is not burnt or to the point where it's where I need it to be. All I'm going to do is move it right here. And I'm going to lift up a small corner right here. All I want to do. Okay, you see that? It looks good. So that tells me exactly what the other one looks like. And it's telling me I need another minute. But we're going to look at it again. Look at this one. Look at that. You see that? That's called GBD, golden brown delicious. Just another minute. So that's what happens when you don't mess with the meat. When you let time do its thing. And then what I'm going to get next is I'm going to get something ready for basting. I'm going to get some butter and some herbs and some garlic. And you'll see in a little bit what I'm doing. Oh, thank you for saying it's beautiful. I appreciate it. So now I'm going to flip. Here's what I do. Grab one piece, flip. Grab one piece, flip. Now, this is where we get a little more complicated. Grab some rosemary stems and thyme leaves. Okay, put those in there. I have some garlic here that are whole garlic cloves. What I'm going to do on my cutting board is smash them up a little bit. Just smash them up a little bit. I don't need it really smashed, just a little bit to add flavor. Okay. Then 2 knobs of butter. There's 1 knob, 2 knobs of butter. The reason I'm adding the butter in now, if I would have added the butter in earlier, it would have got also to a point where it would have burnt. You got to be very careful. So let's look at the one French fry we have. I'm going to move you up here while the butter melts, okay? So we have one French fry ready to go. And put it right here. And let me see. Add a little salt, kosher salt. So they're really thin. Very crispy. So what it's telling me, I am ready to fry. So now what I'm going to do is add a couple small batches at a time. So here we go. Now notice how I put stuff in the fryer to make sure you don't burn yourself. Put it down and away from you. Down and away, down and away. The reason you do that, the direction of your hand is where the oil will go. If I put it down like this, the oil is going to come towards me and I'm burning myself. Down, away, okay? That's anytime you put something in hot oil or hot boiling water. So we're going to keep an eye on these fries. And then we're going to start basting. Let's go back to the steak area. And we're going to go over here, and here's how we baste. Grab your favorite spoon, grab the butter, to keep that heat going, keep that crust built. Okay. Now the butter has gotten all the flavor of the aromatics. The aromatics are the thyme, the garlic, the rosemary. Perfect. That's awesome. Let that do its thing now. Just letting that cook on its own. Don't mess with it too much. Okay? Has anyone ever basted a steak before? Let me know in the chat if you've basted a steak before. I'd like to know if you've basted a steak before. I'm excited to see steak for. Oh, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So I haven't made this dish in a very long time. So you know what? I said, you know what? Let's try this out. It reminds me of a lot of my food and beverage days. It's a classic dish. Pretty much the fancy way to say steak and potatoes. That's what literally it translates to, steak and potatoes. Yes, I cook it like that. Awesome. Yes, it is a New York strip. This is a New York strip. You're correct about that. Okay, I'm going to baste it again. And perfect. Awesome. I'll leave it alone. Let me check on my fries. Let's look at the fries. I'm going to show you what the fries look like. Thank you for the follows, and thank you for sharing out the lives. Those look pretty good. What do you think? How do you think those fries look, everyone? What do you think about those fries? I see we're at 15.9 taps. That's great. Let's see if we get to 25. Let's see if we get to 25 in the next 10 minutes. Let's do that. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, everyone's saying yes. Okay, good. Glad. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm going to actually bring you up here so I can also work on a couple of things. I always make a cocktail when I am cooking. So I was trying to think about what's a quick cocktail I can make, because I especially like to have a beverage when I'm cooking. And my go-to beverage that I love, doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, anytime, it's refreshing, which is a paloma. Do any of you here like palomas? Do any of you here like palomas? Let me know. Someone likes mojitos? That's great. Who in here likes a paloma? If you like a paloma, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you like palomas. Now, I am going to take out one fry. I want to take out at least a small batch to see if they're done. I'm going to season it real quick. Okay. But I need to see what the texture is. If you like palomas, give me a thumbs up. If you never had one, let me know in the chat if you never had one. Okay. It needs a few more minutes. It's good though. But like literally probably needs like another 20, 30 seconds. The paloma is a cocktail that is mixed with tequila, grapefruit juice, lime, and grapefruit soda. So now there's many different ways to make it. It's a very refreshing cocktail. And I just love palomas. It's something I can always drink, no matter what time of the day it is. Every bar, at least in Arizona where I go to, that's where I live, every bar in Arizona has palomas. I don't know how it's everywhere else. Even like it's a Mexican cocktail, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a Mexican restaurant. It's like there's always palomas. Season with salt. Let me check on the steak now. Okay, looks almost done on one side. It still needs a few more minutes because we're not done with the steak. Now I need to finish doing the rest of the French fries in small batches. Okay. Okay. Down, away, so I don't burn myself. So let's work on the cocktail. So one difference I'm gonna do about my paloma is I actually have tequila that I've infused with grapefruit peels. So I'm enhancing that grapefruit taste more and more and more. Okay, so this is not just regular tequila, it is a Blanco tequila that has infused with grapefruit. So I'm just kicking it up a notch. All I'm gonna do is grab my jigger, 2 ounces. Maybe we'll do 2.5. We'll do 2.5. It's Monday, it was a hard weekend, right? Okay. Then what I'm gonna do, I like to add a little extra flavor of things. This is just my spin on it. I'm gonna add a dash of orange liqueur, which is a cognac and orange liqueur together. Very similar to other brands, but just Just a dash. It was not even like, it was not even a, it was less than a half an ounce. It was just more for a flavor component. Now, what I'm gonna do is grab some limes. Oh, thank you for all the shares, everyone. I appreciate that. I see that we're almost at 20K likes. I appreciate that. Let's see if we can get there. So here's one thing about limes. So I see this happen often. People throw limes away when they're beat up. Just because that looks a little rough outside doesn't mean it's bad. Let me show you what it looks like inside. Looks perfect inside. Perfect. Nothing wrong with it. Just because it's a little beat up on the outside. I mean, some of us are pretty beat up on the outside, but we're still good on the inside, right? So that's the way I look at it. Get my lime. Squeeze that in there. Oh, that squeezed some lime everywhere. And let me check on my potatoes. I'll squeeze a little more lime. Okay. Then what I'm going to do next is check on the steak. Awesome. It has a nice sear. So here's the thing. Let's go back to the steak area, okay? We're doing a couple things all at once. So both sides have been seared. But notice right here, that still has not been cooked. So what we're going to do is get that standing up on its side. I'm going to try to get both of them to stand up on the side. We're going to see if we can do a balancing act, okay? Okay. Sometimes I can get it done, sometimes I can't. Now, what I might need to do, I can stay here like this forever and hold it, or I can find some weight right there. Perfect. There we go. Now that's going to allow it to sear on that side. Okay? So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But let's go back to the Paloma. I appreciate it. And I see we're at 20.4K. Let's see if we get to 25. Okay, back to the Paloma. I have my grapefruit tequila in here, 2.5 ounces. I have a dash of cognac liqueur, which is also an orange liqueur. I squeezed some lime in it. Then I need to get my rimming plate ready. I'm going to use tahini, which is an amazing spice. It's citrus and chili. I'm going to put this on the plate. And have any of you used tahini for your cocktails? If you use tahini for your cocktails, can you give me a chili pepper emoji, please? If you use tahini for your cocktails, give me a chili pepper emoji. My fries are looking good. And here's all you do. I didn't know what that was made of. It's chili and salt. So if you use tahini for any of your cocktails, give me a chili emoji. And I'm literally just taking some lime. Okay, I see. We've got some good. Perfect. Cover it with some lime. And you can put as much tahini as you want. Now, I'm going to do something a little weird that I don't see a lot of restaurants do or bars. I love the taste of the tahini and the citrus component together. I'm actually going to add a little bit leftover tahini into the drink so that not only when I didn't use all of it, just a little bit. Not only when I drink the cocktail and my mouth touches the rim, now the cocktail itself will have tahini in it. Just a little bit. I don't want to overpower it. But that's why I just put a little bit. Then we're going to work on getting some ice. So here's what we do. And checking our fries. Fries are looking good. Then let me work on getting some grapefruit soda. You get your own grapefruit soda of choice. I'm using the one that I had in my fridge. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Grapefruit soda of my choice. And what I'm going to do is I want to mix this up. This might sound weird for some of you, but I'm going to put a little bit of this soda in there. Grapefruit soda of your choice. And then I'm going to do a cocktail shaking. Okay, get it? There you go. Then my next concept is put that in there. And I don't need to strain it because there's nothing in it that I want to strain back. Now all you gotta do is add more ice. And add more grapefruit soda. If you recall, I just put a tiny bit of grapefruit soda in there. Let me check out my fries. Fries are looking done. Give me 1 second. Let me take these fries out. Sorry, I'm not necessarily ignoring the chat. If you've asked me a question, please feel free to ask it again in a few moments. I'll be more than happy to look at it. I just want to be able to make sure I don't burn my fries. So add some salt. Shake it up so that the salt spreads evenly. Let me flip the steaks. And then we'll go from there. And I'll be with you in 1 moment. Awesome. Okay. So let's see what the chat says. Looks delicious. Oh, cool. Thank you. So here, this is simple paloma. Nothing too crazy. There is grapefruit tequila in there. You can squeeze a little extra lime if you want to. But like I said, this is something I like to do when I'm cooking. Helps me enjoy what I'm doing. Always drink with your pinky out. It's nice, refreshing, very crisp. These fries are really good. Very, very good. Next batch of potatoes. So let me ask you a question. For the ones who are here, how do I put the potatoes in? I want to see if we've been able to learn this. How do I put these potatoes in hot oil? Can someone tell me? I love that thin and crispy. Oh yes, they are. How do I put the French fries or the potatoes into the oil? I want to see if you guys recall what I said earlier. Because the goal down and away. That is correct. Down and away. Cool. Always do down and away. If you're not trying to burn yourself, we don't need to go to the ER today. Okay? And the last fry. Perfect. We're done with our fries now. So let me get rid of this. Okay, steak time now. It is ready to be put into the oven. So here's what I'm going to do. Take this off. Put it away because I don't need that no more. And the goal is put it in the oven. I'm going to do 10 minutes roughly, or we'll do 7. You can do 7 to 10 minutes, okay? But at this time, you got to take advantage of the fact that you need to clean up your stovetop. Unfortunately, when you cook like this, all the bacon, like all the fat and oil sprays everywhere. So you just got to clean up. I'm always cleaning as I go in my lives because it makes life a little easier. But I thank everyone for being here. We're at almost 25K. Let's see if we get to 30K taps in the next 5 minutes. What do you guys say? We still got a lot of time until the meal is ready. So I've already made a paloma, which is delicious. And now I'm going to work on making a simple sauce for the fries. Now, I don't want to get too fancy where I'm going to make an aioli from scratch. I already have a lot of dishes to do, but I'm going to show you how you can do something somewhat fancy, but without making your own aioli. And it can still make you feel like you're at a 5-star restaurant or 4-star or a 3 Michelin star, whatever you want to, whatever the diamonds, whatever you want to think of. And it's just taking mayonnaise and doctoring it up a little bit. Because an aioli is pretty much a fancy mayonnaise. That's all it is. And I'm going to just put this butter away because I don't need this butter right now. And so I'm going to grab some mayonnaise of your choice. Mayonnaise that I always use is a mayonnaise that has like olive oil base. I prefer the olive oil base. You can do any other base you like. It's your choice. But all I'm going to do is put some mayonnaise in here. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Now, here's a fun fact. I've talked to many people who don't like mayonnaise. And here's what they say. And maybe one of you are like this. And if that's the case, let's talk about this. They say like, well, I don't like mayonnaise because I don't like dairy. Then I always look at them and say, you know, there's no dairy in mayonnaise. Just because it is this color doesn't mean there's dairy in it. It's an emulsified product mixing egg yolks, lemon juice, and olive oil, and it could also be like some mustard, and you mix it enough, it actually creates that consistency. So for anyone, just maybe you were questioning why don't you eat mayonnaise, especially if you're saying dairy free, there's no dairy in mayonnaise. So here's what I'm gonna do: salt, pepper. Now, simple thing too. Okay, first of all, let me ask you a question. Who egg? You know what? Eggs. See, dairy comes from a cow. Now, at the grocery store, so dairy comes from a moo, eggs come from a cluck cluck. Um, so that's the way I've always understood it, especially being in the hospitality business for so long and having to understand people's dietary restrictions. But someone might have a preference. But so that's just that's what I can tell you is my experience and the knowledge I've had. But I'm always willing to be proven wrong. Um, but once I can tell you this, when it comes, well, I was saying, okay, mayonnaise. If you like mayonnaise, simple thing you can do if you're like making a sandwich, just get some mayonnaise, squeeze a lemon, salt and pepper, and put that on your sandwich, and you'll be impressed just by that little difference, just that little difference. What temp is the oven at? Oh, it's 350. I'm going for it's probably about a medium. It could be a medium rare to a medium. I don't do a lot of temping with my steak. I don't want to purposely I don't want to put the thermometer in my steak, especially when it's cooking. Anytime you poke a hole in your meat, you're going to release juices. So, I'm going for it's going to probably be about a medium because the amount of time I cooked it on the pan and the size of the steak is probably going to be about a medium. But we got a few more minutes left of the steak in the oven. Now, let me explain to you. The reason I put it in the oven, that is when you are having to cook a lot of food at once, especially when you're doing banquets and a lot of other big cooking facilities, the ovens are used a lot often to cook food. You sear it, then you finish it off in the oven because the oven is another heat source. So a lot of times when you're getting your food cooked in the restaurant, it is being finished off in the oven, if you're not aware. Yes, eggs are considered poultry. That is correct. Hey, Kyle Beasley, how you doing? Do you tenderize your meat? I don't tenderize it. I don't think it needs to be tenderized. I mean, you can do that if you want. If that's the way you like your meat, feel free to tenderize it. But I don't think it needs it. But let's work on this sauce. A little bit of parsley. Okay. Let me get some lemon juice. I believe I have lemons right here. Yep. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get some lemon juice. Pour this into here. Just a little bit. Then, because I like a little chili, I have some chipotle pureed peppers. I'm going to add a little bit of chipotle pureed peppers. Add a nice little kick. This is peppers I had left over for the last grub match I did where the competition was peppers. So then all I'm going to do is grab my favorite fork, mix it up. And keep mixing that. Give it a little taste. Take a spoon. Needs a little more citrus. Then put it into a ramekin I want to use. And okay, perfect. Put it into a ramekin I want to use. And then now that's done. So that's just that right there. You can also top it off with a little more parsley if you want. Let me take my steak out. Timer's about to go off. Grab a towel. Okay. Now I need to take the steak out of the pan. But the most important thing is I can't cut it right now. So let it rest. But while it's resting, here's what we're going to do. I have some compound butter right here. It's an herb compound butter that I made the other day in my live. It's a mixture of thyme, rosemary, sage, sauteed onions and sauteed shallots and sauteed garlic. So I'm gonna put one medallion on each steak. So the residual heat will help melt the butter, will also help flavor the steak. Keep that there, let it rest. So here's the most important part. If I was to cut this steak this very moment, what's gonna happen? All the juices will bleed out of it. And it'll make the meat very dry. When the meat is cooking, and this is any type of meat, chicken, pork, any beef, when you were cooking meat, inside the meat is all these juices that are just shooting everywhere. And because they have nowhere to go. So the minute you poke a hole into this or you cut it, you will release the juices. So what happens is by letting it rest, all the juices are redistributing evenly into the meat itself. So this is the most important part of when you cook something. Anything that's a protein like this, chicken, beef, pork, and other things you do. Letting it rest is going to be the most important thing you can do. 10 minutes is preferred. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. So at least do 5 minutes, okay? Oops, oh, I forgot that handle was hot, so I've got to put it away so I don't burn myself. And my fries are almost done. And we're going to see what we can do. Almost done. They still need a little more time. But hopefully everyone's having a great day. And we're at 32.2 taps to see if we can get to about 35. What do you say? So let's see what this looks like there. Why let it sit? So, okay, I see someone saying, why let it sit? The reason I'm saying why let it sit, thank you for the follow, Patricia. The reason you let it sit is, if you didn't hear me earlier, is you need the juices to redistribute through the whole piece of meat. So just it's a very good thing to do. If you choose not to do it, that is fine. But I'm just telling you that if I was to cut this meat right now, you will see all the juices released on the cutting board. Now, when I cut it after letting it rest, there's still going to be juices that release, but there'll be less. You want the juices to stay in the steak as much as you can. And my fries are looking good. I'm happy with that. My last batch is almost ready. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me get this ready. Now, something else that we can, let me put this away. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this organized. Because eventually I need to be able to show you guys everything that I've done. And I have a piece of bread. Who in here likes bread? Do you guys like bread? Who in here likes bread? Okay, butter doesn't need to be on the steak. Butter, I mean, that is a preference. Christine, that is a preference. I can tell you that at a lot of nice restaurants, this is a common practice to put compound butter on a piece of steak after it's been grilled. But it's whatever your preference is. Just like, like for instance, someone might put A1 steak on their sauce or on the side. It's a preference, and whatever you like, that's the most important thing. If you know what you like, then just keep doing what you like. That's what I'm always going to recommend. My palate or your taste might be two different types of taste, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you haven't tried steak with the compound butter, I would recommend at least trying it before we make an opinion of it. But okay, next I am going to do is cut some bread for this. This is a nice Italian loaf. I actually used the same loaf earlier. If you saw my live earlier, I used the same loaf to make some French toast. I made a I made a, what was it? Cinnamon Toast Crunch French toast is what I made. Perfect. Let me wrap this up because I don't need all this bread. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, CP Forever. I appreciate that. Now I need to work on getting this pan hot. It's not ready yet. But in order to get this nice, I'm going to do a nice toast on this bread. I'm actually going to use the pan. The pan I will use, and I'm going to use the compound butter. And let me do this is my last batch of French fries. And almost done. Okay, let me turn off the heat. So if this is your first time attending FoodTok TV, could you mind letting us know this is your first time here? We'd appreciate knowing that. Just do some salt. I am going to hit it with a little bit of pepper. Thank you for attending FoodTok TV. We're the longest running live daily cooking show on TikTok. We've been going strong since 2021. Every day there is always content creators. I happen to be one of the ones that is always on Thursday. Today I'm stepping in. We also have Trini tonight who's going to be stepping in. Typically me and Trini do Thursdays. We're still going to be doing this Thursday, but we're stepping in today to help out. So we're really excited to help out. And today, if you're tuning in right now, I'm making steak frites, which is a fancy way to say steak and fries. And I also made a dipping sauce. I wouldn't say it's truly an aioli because I didn't make the aioli from scratch, but I kind of showed you a quick way to make an aioli or a quick way to make it a fancy mayonnaise sauce. Took mayonnaise, chipotle pepper, lemon juice, salt, pepper, and some parsley. Now, if you got cilantro, you can use cilantro if you want to, and that'll be completely fine. And let me grab my bowls. So here's how I'm going to plate up the steak frites. First of all, I'm going to put this on the bottom. But the way I can prevent this from sliding is a couple things. And you get a paper towel. I'm going to show you what I do to prevent this from sliding. And all I'm going to do is get it damp a little bit. Put it underneath. Okay, put it underneath like that. So now it doesn't slide. And I'm going to take my French fries, or the frites. Fancy way to say frites. Put them around the ramekin. I'll show you right now what it looks like. Give me a moment. Doing some simple presentations like this can change the way the dish looks. And if you notice, I didn't do anything really special. I just literally put the dish in the middle. It also makes the dish look fuller if I was just to put it on the plate, and you'll see in a few moments what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. Perfect. So look at that. How does that look? How does that look, everyone? What do you think of that? What's your thoughts? Can I just put plain butter and put the spices? Oh, you can do whatever you like. Absolutely. You can do actually that. You're completely right. You can do exactly what you want. I just happen to have compound butter always. I just like compound butter. Okay. Next is toasting my bread. Okay, pan's hot. Good. Turn down the heat. Put my compound butter now onto the pan. Going to melt the butter evenly around the pan. Get that butter spread. And we're at 1. Okay, perfect. And let me finish this real quick. I'll work on cutting the steak in a few moments. We'll see what the temperature is. What do you think the temperature of the steak's going to be? What do you think it is going to be? I'm thinking it's going to be more like a medium. But I could be wrong. It could be medium rare or it could be medium well. But what do you think the temperature steak's going to be? Okay, now I'm going to put my bread on there and let that. What is a compound butter? Oh, that's great. Compound butter is a way to add flavor to butter. All I do is you take butter, you let it get to room temperature. And you can add whatever herbs or spices or seasonings you want to add to it. So all you do is let it get to room temperature. This one I have, I always have a compound butter. So this one happens to have sauteed shallots and garlic. I added fresh rosemary, thyme, and sage. And so that is just a butter that is flavored. So if you see all that, those little dark parts are the shallots and garlic. I have an answer. Wow, that sounds good. I mean, for the grub match competition that I did about 3 weeks ago, I did a guajillo chili butter with cilantro. But okay, so here's the thing: when cutting your meat, you want to cut against the grain. So what that means is, when you look at your meat, it's gonna be too hard to show you on the camera probably, but there is lines that are going in on the meat. Okay, you don't want to cut the same diagonal of those lines. You want to cut against it. So you want to cut the opposite way. So every piece of meat will look different. So like the easiest way I can describe it, if anyone's ever seen a skirt steak or flank steak, those lines are very pronounced. You can see the lines in the flank steak, and what you want to do is go against that grain. You don't want to do the same grain, okay? So what I am going to do is put this on a different cutting board. So there's not, all the butter has already melted, so I don't want to mix it. It's just my preference, okay? Keep in mind, the steak has not been cut. So, and let's see. Okay, compound butter is so yummy, can be made. And so I've even made compound butters out of pumpkin, pumpkin puree. You can make compound butters out of anything you want. It doesn't have to be savory. It does not have to be savory. Okay, perfect. Let's cut the steak now. Looking at the okay, perfect. One moment. So this is, I would say, it's more like a medium. It's more like a medium. Actually, more like a medium well. I would say more medium well. Now this one, so look at this goes to show you, this is more like a medium. There's more red in this one, where this is more like a medium well. This they were both cooked at the exact same time. So sometimes when you cook steak, you can cook two steaks at the exact same time, and they can come out different. So just understand that it's not about being perfect. But the most important thing I can tell you is with this type of steak, it's still going to be flavorful because I didn't allow the juices to empty out of it. I didn't cut the meat in the beginning. So all I'm going to do with my steak is put it on a plate. And that's all. I'm going to just do one piece of steak. Let me check out my bread. Still toasting. Let me get rid of this. Actually, I'll taste it right now as we speak. So I don't know if you can see the light right there. The light. So it has that, red mark inside. Tastes delicious. And some of the leftover butter, I would grab that. Now, one thing you can do, you could put more compound butter on the top if you want to, but it'll be your choice. Hold on. My daughter and I plan to make PB and chocolate. Oh, you know what, Trini? Yeah, I saw that recipe. That recipe looks really good. Let me get rid of this. Why, I move this real quick so that I'm not in the way. And let me do this. I'm gonna clean up my station for a second. Now, something else that I can do is literally make a dish with the French fries. So I'm gonna take some of the French fries. I'm gonna stack them. Okay. Grab some of the remaining steak. Light it down. And grab a little bit of aioli. Oh, thank you, Zoraida. Grab a measuring spoon. All I'm gonna do is a special design. Perfect. Hit it with. There we go. So now I can show you exactly what I have right here. And I'm still waiting for my bread to toast up. Bread is still toasting. Perfect. So here, let me show you what it is so far right now. Oh, let's see if we get to 50K. Yeah. I'm waiting for my bread to still toast. But so far now I have a steak Frites with the aioli sauce. I have the Frites separate. I have the steak separate with the compound butter. And I have the paloma. And I'm still waiting for the bread to toast. Because what I do with the bread, once it's toasted, I'll put it on the side of the steak. Just literally waiting for it to toast on this skillet. And you could toast it in a toaster if you want, but I like to use the pan. I like the crust that it can give a dish. And yes, the paloma is delicious. User, when you say you cook, what do you mean by that? Help me understand. Okay, good. A paloma. It is a beverage typically in the Mexican culture. The simplest way to describe it is tequila, grapefruit, soda, grapefruit juice, lime juice, and that's it. Now mine is a different variety. I actually took tequila and infused it with grapefruit peels and grapefruit pulp, and then I used that as my tequila instead of just using Blanco tequila. So I just did tequila, a little orange cognac liqueur, lime juice, grapefruit soda, and a tahini rim. Oh, thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. But almost done with this bread. Okay, and I'm gonna take off the heat. And here's what we do. Put it on a cutting board. And so you can do it any way you want, but here's the way I would prefer to do it. And let me finish cutting up. Let me get rid of this. So I need to clean up the area so I can show you guys exactly what it looks like for all the dishes. And how are we on taps, everyone? Let's see if we get to 50,000 taps. Do you have your own page? I actually do. So here, that's a good question. Let me actually do something real quick. Take a moment to talk about this. So I want to say, first of all, thank you for all attending to FoodTokTV. We are the longest running live cooking show on TikTok. Been doing it. We do daily shows. Been doing it since 2021. Monday through Friday, especially, we have 2 shows that go on every day, right? When it comes to mine, I'm typically on Thursdays. Today, I'm stepping in to fill in. Also tonight, Trini's gonna be stepping in, and she also is my Thursday partner. So I normally go on Thursday at 12 o'clock, chopping up with Father. Trini goes on normally at 7 p.m. on Thursdays, and then she'll be stepping in tonight. So we go live. We're all different. We all cook different things. So you can go from baking, sweets, cookies, to pantry staples, to barbecue, to grilling, to so many different things. And so what's really cool, if you watch everyone's show, you will see that we all cook different, so you can learn a lot from each one of us. And we had a show last night. That is itself is the longest running cooking show, which is every Sunday. But then we go live every day here. So let me show you exactly everything that I have done so you get an idea. And here we go. So steak Frites with a chipotle aioli. These are just the Frites by itself. And notice that when you put the Frites around, it makes it look more fuller when it technically there's nothing here in the middle. So just by doing that, it makes things look a little more fuller. Then I have the steak with the toasted points of bread that was toasted in a pan with a compound butter. This butter is a mixture of rosemary, thyme, sage, sauteed shallots, and salted garlic. This is a Paloma cocktail, which is a mixture of a grapefruit tequila, grapefruit soda, lime juice, and an orange liqueur cognac. And that is everything that I was able to do in 1 hour, pretty much. So I appreciate everyone. Now, don't forget to mention, oh yeah, perfect. So here's the thing. Thank you, Chris. You always mention that. So right here where it says, what up, homies? For anyone asked if I have my own page, the comment that says, what up, homies? That is me. So I recommend follow me when you get a moment. I go live about 2 times a day sometimes, but I go live 5 to 6 days a week. So I would recommend definitely following me. I cook a lot of different things for myself and my family. So when you see the what up, homies, that it says Cooking with Father. That is me. So feel free to call me. Feel free to follow me. You can still DM me if you have any questions. A lot of people DM me questions about recipes, and I'll be more than happy to send it to them if you ever see something that you like. So yeah. So look, this is interesting. So this was about, I would say, about a medium, where this was more medium well. They were both cooked at the exact same time, but that just goes to show sometimes when you cook a piece of meat, and what's even funny, this one was smaller. This one was a bigger piece of steak. It just happened to be the way the heat distributed in the pan cooked a little different. But we're almost okay. We're at 50K. I have the puzzle piece. So here we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with me and enjoy. Well, I hope you get a chance to enjoy the rest of your day with your loved ones. And we'll see you tonight. Actually, what time, Trini? What time are you going live tonight? So we can make sure we put a plug in for you. Thank you all for getting us to 50K. Oh, thank you, Trini. What time do you want live tonight, Trini? So we can know on FoodTok TV. So everyone, at 6 p.m. Central this evening, please make sure you follow FoodTok TV. If you're not already, click on FoodTok TV up here. Click on the notification bell so that when we go live, you'll be notified every single moment. And tonight, you want to see Trini. She's going to be cooking tonight for us at 6 p.m. Central, okay? Jamie, thank you for the follow. Everyone have an amazing day. Take care.